the people that were getting released that they found out had no information, that were just at the wrong place at the wrong time or whatever, they got the same treatment going back home. We would do the same thing. They were blindfolded, they were shackled, they were put in the plane, and they were strapped down to the floor. And I mean, probably none of you have ever ridden in a C-130 before, but it's a really uncomfortable ride, even if you have a seat and a seatbelt and you can see and you can get up and go to the bathroom. I've seen Marines to puke in their BDUs, in their uniform, and I've even seen Marines shit their pants inside this plane, and they're in a seat and they're chilling, and these people are on the floor strapped down. So I'm pretty sure they're having a very uncomfortable ride. And so we brought them back to Baghdad, and we would release them out into the public and take off their blindfolds, take off the straps, take off the chains, and let them go. And then they had 210 more for us to take to Basra. We were doing like double sorties, whatever you want to call it. And so we had more people to bring back to the Basra prison. The same, we did the same exact thing to it every time. And we would go and drop them off at Basra and then take 210 more that are getting released and bring them back. And so like the last leg of that mission where we would release them, I took the straps off, took the blindfolds off of them, and when seeing the look on their face when you take the blindfold off and when you take their shackles off and when they can see the light and when they have control of their bodies again and when they realize that they're back in Baghdad and they're away from that dark place, from that cell, from that interrogation room, from having no control, just seeing the look on their face of just like bliss and like, thank Allah in their case that we're back and we're back into society. Just, I don't know, it really did something to me. It was at that time that I just really realized exactly what we were doing there. It was like a systematic way to go. I mean, instead of going and being like, okay, we have intel, we have information, we're going to go get this guy or we're going to go get that one. Instead, they just go house to house or go to people at the marketplace and pick them up and take them if they look a little suspicious or something. It's just a systematic way to go through and grab these people and interrogate them and try to gather information because we don't freaking have any. And then just hold them there in the cell for I don't know how many days and questioning them and then release them back into the public. And like doing this to a lot of people, like in the Baghdad community, and seeing the look on their face when I released them, it just like, I don't know, something turned, and I had to like try to say something to them because I felt really bad. I didn't know what to say. I don't speak Arabic. I happened to be reading a Malcolm X book at the time, and the only thing I knew how to say was "Assalamu alaikum," and so that's what I said. I looked at the guy and I was like, "Hey, Assalamu alaikum," and he looked over to me and he smiled and nodded and he said, "Alaikum salam." And then I kind of smiled back, and then his buddy that was next to him, the other prisoner, came up behind him and tapped him on the shoulder, and like whispered something in his ear. He probably said, "There's a filthy American," or "That's a soldier." I probably don't look like the average. Maybe they thought I was Arabic or something, and maybe that's why he wasn't scared. But when he told them that, he like cowered and like backed away and got all scared, and he wasn't my friend anymore. And so I think that was one really, really pivotal point in making me become anti-war and anti-government, anti-authoritarian, all this shit. After seeing the way that I had treated people that from society and actually identified with my enemy as a human being, as a person that has beliefs, just like Chris was saying, has problems, has a family, has all the same things as you have, and just to treat him this way is really dehumanizing, and the fact that what excuses it in soldiers' minds to treat people this way and to hurt people and kill them and do all this shit is just plain racism. To be like, oh well, this person is brown, they're Haji, they're a terrorist, they're this and that, and so you don't feel like you feel like they're nothing, and it excuses it in your mind, and it excuses it in the public's mind too. I mean, there's not like a lot of people like ranting and raving about this shit, you know, about the way that we're treating people in Guantanamo Bay and Basra and Abu Ghraib. And the people in the public think the same thing too. You know, they believe that that Iraq is full of terrorists, and people support, you know, Obama sending more troops to Afghanistan because they think they're all terrorists over there too. And from a soldier's perspective, from my perspective, like, I mean, I've served in Afghanistan, I've served in Iraq. I got forward deployed from Afghanistan to Iraq when the Iraq war was like really, you know, starting to heat up. And it's the same war. It's the same war. It's not a different war. There's nothing different going on. It's not that, because, you know, right now people are saying, oh, Iraq's bad, but Afghanistan's good. But if you've served in both, you're fighting the same war for the same cause. You're still in the Middle East. You're still in somebody else's, occupying somebody else's country for the profit and for corporate interest, and you're still getting shot at and shooting Arab people, you know? To me, they're both the same war, and I oppose both of them. And I don't think, you know, that when Obama comes here to talk about sending more troops in this NATO meeting, you know, I hope that they say no, but I doubt they will. And another thing that I want to talk about is, like, you know, after I did those missions and I got home, that was my last deployment, and I was like, okay, I'm home now. I have a few months before I get out of the military. I'm not gonna re-enlist for shit. You know, there's no way in hell. I mean, I was a flyer. A flying job is a really high enlistment bonus. They were offering $60,000 to re-enlist. And I was just like, no way. I'm not going to do it. I knew some people that did because they really wanted the money, you know? I mean, like, back, you know, like economic draft, to just, you know, wave the money in your face and everything, and you can do it. But I didn't want to. And I came home and I was like, okay, good. I don't have that much time left. I just have to sit at home and throw more sandbags at targets out of the back of the plane. And then, I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Hurricane Katrina. Is anybody here familiar with Hurricane Katrina? Yes. Hurricane Katrina happened when I got back home in the late summer. It was like August 2005. And the same type of shit was happening. You know, it was like a parallel. Like, I saw on the news, nobody was going in to go and help these people. It had been, I'm watching the news at home. I know I fly planes. I can go in there and rescue people. I can go and deliver supplies. There was planes coming from China, coming from Russia, delivering, you know, diapers, delivering all this different type of stuff onto our base, and it wasn't going anywhere. We were just sitting there on the, and like, I was just, every day I'm like, oh, there's a bunch more planes from other countries, and we're not doing anything. And I would watch the news, and I would see on the news that the only people that were left over was these poor black people, and that whenever they were going scrounging around for water or trying to get food, they were calling them looters. And they were calling them criminals and shit. And, you know, we have to secure the shops. We have to make sure that these looters and these criminals don't break in, you know. And, I mean, the media was just portraying more racism into the public. And we're off in some other land fighting a war, and we can't even save our own people here when there's a disaster. But anyways, so 5 days had passed, and we were actually sitting on alert, waiting for the call to go to New Orleans to go rescue people. And I got the call, and they called me in the middle of the night, like 10, 11 p.m. I was out at a bar. I shouldn't have been there, but I was out at a bar, and I got called back to the base to go and to go evacuate people from New Orleans, just to get them out of there. And so we arrived there in New Orleans, and we took like a medevac team with us and delivered some supplies. I mean, this is 5 days later after the levees already broke, so the place has already gone to shit. And we landed in New Orleans airport. It looked like Baghdad International Airport. I mean, it was occupied by the military. There was nothing but helicopters and planes flying around and bodies being carried in gurneys. And I went inside the airport to go find the guy. There's somebody on the ground that has like your passenger manifest and is basically is going to tell you what you're doing. So I went to the airport to look for him, and